Hello, fabulous people. This is the Together podcast, and this is the place where Cherise and I come together to help you get it together for your everyday business life. So we hope you enjoy. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing out there? We are Cherise B, and then I'm Natalie Elliott, and this is the Together podcast because we love to come together to help you get it together. And I just love that. And we came up with that one morning when Cherise was doing my hair. She started off as my stylist. So it's been a while since we said all of that. And my social media girl who kind of the podcast producer for this, she was just like, y'all don't introduce yourselves no more. You don't do anything, And I was like, we just jump on and start talking. So I'm going to have to do a standard intro and a standard that she can just add on to each one.
Yes.
So that we can keep just doing us. But in that doing us, we what I love about us, and then I think what we're going to talk about today is what we were just talking about when you fall off, when you're not following your calendar, when you feel like you don't have it together, how do you get it back together? So that's what I would love for us to talk about today. But one thing that I love about us is we show up, which is one of Cherise's main things. And I know y'all, we didn't show up for the last 2 weeks, but Cherise was on vacation. She did the Tom Joyner cruise, y'all. And I had kind of a family medical stuff that was going on and surgeries and stuff like that. And so we just were not able to be here. But when we can be here, we do show up. And I love that we show up imperfectly. I love that about us because that is, I'm going to say 80% of the battle. It's just showing up and consistently showing up and continuing to show up. And we just recently passed our 1-year anniversary for doing this. It was in April. We're now in May of 2024. And I'm still proud of us because we're still doing it. We made 1 year. That's really exciting. But that really warms my heart because when I was doing the research for podcasts, they were saying, like, you got to be doing it a minimum of 3 years before you're going to get traction, before it grows. And so that really, set the bar for me. Like, I ain't even really started until you've been doing it for 3 years. And I know so many people who, I'm going to do a podcast, and then they didn't do it. Or I'm going to do a podcast, and they did it for 2 episodes, and that was it. And so I'm so proud of us for showing up any type of way.
Yes, for sure.
Showed up any type of way and getting it done. And then I'm going to ask you people out there that are listening to the sound of my voice for you to show up and just keep showing up, and you will get better in time. Like you will continue to get better. You'll continue to get better. You'll continue to get better. Just by doing it, And so we were doing it at 9 at night, which was okay, but it wasn't great because we were both kind of showing up a little tired. Now we're doing it at 9 in the morning, which is so much better for us both. I'm letting you in now, Cherise.
Yes.
And so so we're just doing it. Like, we're just doing it. And so whatever you are doing out there, whatever you need to be doing out there, just start doing it. And I like to say, fix it in the mix. Like, we'll just fix it in the mix, on the job training, figure out how to get better and better and better and better. But there's something about just doing it that breaks, I want to say, a glass ceiling, but that's not correct. But there will be when you start doing something, I think it propels you to the next level. It breaks. I don't know what the right word would be.
Through. And then for me, I feel like it is like the clouds start to clear. And then the clarity starts to come in, because that's the space that I feel like we're in right now with most of the conversations that I am having. People are like, there's just this overwhelming clarity. Like, oh, now I see what I need to do. Oh, I get it. I see why this happened, and I see why that happened.
Yeah.
And But that's also due to being consistent and believing in yourself, continuing to believe in yourself, not quitting, staying the course, and it looking, being open to it not looking like what you thought it should look like.
Oh, girl. Oh my gosh. Somebody just sent me a little clip on that. It was this guy talking about, I have to send it to you. I can't believe I did send it to you. But it was this guy talking about that scripture where it's like God will give you like abundantly, exceedingly anything that you can think. And so he was like, if you think it, it will not happen because God's going to do more than what you can think. Girl, it was so good. So I have to send it to you, but it's just like, oh yeah. So really being able to sit in that place of this is the result I want. And Lord, I'm okay with whatever path you bring me down to get there. And really sitting in that. And then also sitting in a place of, and I'm struggling with this personally, you guys, sitting in that place of listening. Because and even though I feel like there's one or two specific things throughout the years, I feel like, okay, I know God told me that, and it didn't happen in no specific time. It just kind of, it was just that still small voice, right? But I've been of late trying to like really sit in silence and listen for the voice of God. And it feels like, okay, you ain't talking to me. You ain't saying nothing during this time period. So I don't know if I need to keep doing this. And so I'm really trying to figure out, okay, where's the balance and listening and how to listen purposefully. So it's a nice journey, frustrating, but nice. So, okay.
I would love to share something really quick.
Please.
To help people with some understanding. So for me, I've never been that type of person where God said,
right.
Like that either. But there have been some very confirming times in my life. Like even recently, I got a word. It just, kind of downloaded with flow. I looked up. I looked on the radio screen, and it was 444. I looked down at my phone. 444. Like you pay attention to the small confirmation. Simple things like God doesn't really speak audibly, it's through a feeling and it's through a knowing. So you have to know that, if you heard a word or if you saw a person or felt the thing, that's your confirmation. And trust that a lot of times, even when it's audibly in a way, if that's what we want to call it, it's like you still heard it from within. You know what I mean? It's still an audible within type thing, so you got to trust that you are being spoken to and confirmed.
Yes. Oh my God.
At all times. You might see birds, you might see butterflies or bees, they all have meanings. I see a lot of dragonflies, like the meaning of it. If you see it, if a red bird or a blue bird flies by, or stops on your car, I would get dragonflies just around the car all the time. And
wow.
Yeah. I remember one day I was like, oh, thank you, God. That's you. Okay.
Yeah, girl, you so on it. Because as I've been like, I want to hear from God, on a couple of things that all of because of course I started then, going to YouTube and how to hear from God, how to hear from God, hear from God. And basically everything you just said is what people were saying. Like you're looking for, I don't know what I was looking for because I think I got answers to everything I was looking for, but I wanted it to be so clear. I'm just at a place right now where I want to be very purposeful. And I don't want to. I appreciate and definitely can do it. I appreciate the people who you've seen them grow and you've seen them change, but I just wanted to be very purposeful and clear with the coaching program that I'm growing. And so I was like, so really in this, like, I want to know, but I also had to have a conversation with myself because it's like, that was part of me spinning out and procrastinating. So as opposed to you just doing the next step, that you know you're supposed to do, you over here in the corner trying to hear from God. Okay, I'm gonna need you to go be over here at the table, write that social media post, recording that video, writing that article, working on that email sequence. And so I had to catch myself because it's so easy to start spinning out, spinning out, spinning out
Yeah.
on the, I'm gonna say, esoteric stuff
Yeah.
and not doing the practical stuff. So, but today
I
I had
have a
such a
question.
go ahead. Okay.
When you say esoteric, since we're,
Hmm.
being clear with the people, what about the
Hmm.
people who don't quite relate to the word esoteric? What does that mean for you?
I just meant, yeah, I don't even know if I know what the word means, but I just meant that higher thinking stuff, the faith stuff, the spiritual stuff, the
Yeah.
oh, let me know this about myself, and whether it's
Mhm.
whether you're doing deep dive work on what your human design is or what your astrology is, and all of that to get answers for
Yeah.
your next phase of life.
Yeah.
And so I've seen myself I've seen myself do it so many times. So I can spin out on that stuff and then spend the hour chasing I want to say what chasing pavements, chasing pavements, like Adele say, and not actually doing the work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so about what I've watched, what let's just say 8 hours of YouTube on how
Mhm.
to hear from God,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
I could have just did 8 posts and looked at my feedback from those posts. And
Yeah.
so, because I
Yeah.
know what to do, I just when I want to get it right, I can start spinning out
Yeah.
as
We
opposed to just
can.
practically doing it.
That's easy, and it's easy to do because
Hmm.
we're always searching outside of ourselves for the answer.
Yeah, yeah.
When you are the answer,
Mm, that's
you
good. You are
are
the
the
answer.
freaking answer.
Hmm.
But if you're constantly searching outside of ourselves, and we're all guilty, super
Hmm.
guilty, because
Hmm.
that's what we've been taught, right? That
Right.
you got to go somewhere else. You need something else, But we go back to that's where when we're dealing with imposter syndrome and
Hmm.
unworthiness.
Hmm. Hmm.
No, you are the answer.
Yeah.
So the esoteric, the reason why I wanted you to go deeper with that word alone is because I think our generation, Gen X, and the baby boomers, we came from the old school, and especially our culture, we came from a Jesus culture. We,
Yeah.
I think in this space, of course, we know who and whose we are, but we may not have been introduced to another language, which is the
Right.
same. We're not speaking anything different. We're just speaking from a more enlightened place. That's not
Right.
the only way to give praise and worship. That's not the
Mm.
only way to give thanks. You don't have
Hmm.
to be in the church house. You don't have to get to the hem of the pastor's garment, to be blessed. You are
Yeah.
blessed.
Yes.
You are powerful. And if God gave us dominion, if God gave us the power to move about this earth and have dominion
Hmm.
and have everything that was said to be ours,
Hmm.
why do we have to work so hard to get it? We don't.
Excellent question. Yeah, we
We
don't.
don't.
We
It's
don't.
there. It's already
Yeah.
there.
Hmm. Hmm.
But we've been programmed to think that
Gotcha.
we need more. We need more education. We need more resources. And of
Yeah.
course we do, but you have to keep it in perspective. Stop thinking that all that you have isn't enough.
Girl, I might need to go sit and meditate on that. I am enough and what I have is enough.
We
It's a
talk about
but
it on the surface too much because those are
yeah.
those are clicky words now.
Hmm.
Those are
Hmm.
buzzwords now. But we're talking about the real of it.
No, you're right. You're right. I was with somebody yesterday and I was like, "Oh, have you heard of this program?" And she was like, "Yeah, girl, I took that program like 5, 6 years ago." And she was like, "I'm telling you, we know everything that's in that program. You don't have to take the program." And
Yeah,
she was like, "Just do what you know to do. You don't have to take that program."
yeah,
And I was like, but I don't think I know enough. I think I have to take the program. I think I have to
Yeah.
pay for the program. And
Yeah.
so just to fight with myself, even though, and I trust my friend. I trust
Mhm.
that since she took the program 5, 6 years
Yeah.
ago, that
Yeah.
she knows what's in the program and that she's right that I don't have to take the program. But there's something that I'm like, but I still want to, but I still want to know, but I still want to. It might be a piece of information that I don't know. And so she's like, no, you know it. So it's just interesting
Mhm.
how I won't say we argue against. Yeah, we argue against our own selves.
Mhm.
We are. Oh, Abraham Hicks has this. We argue for our limitations. She has.
Ooh, we argue
Ooh,
for our limitations. Hold on, wait.
girl.
Let me take a
Hmm.
note on that. We argue for our limitations.
Well, we will argue for our limitations.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, and I think we got to start arguing for our expansion.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna have to purpose to do that because I think I've been
mm,
doing that, arguing for my limitations.
that's the word. So you said we have to
We need to argue for our expansion. We need
argue
to,
for our, woo, girl.
yeah, argue for what you just got finished saying. We are enough.
You
And so
are.
if I sit there and say, okay, I am enough, which that it's the idea that there are diamonds in my backyard. That literally I have things that I can create money with, things in my mind that I can create money with, that I already know enough, that I am enough. And I think one of the coach that I'm really listening to right now a lot is, and I think I'm gonna have to, I might need to do this myself, but she said she had to sit with herself like 30, she just did her own personal 30-day challenge of just working on the belief that I am an expert. I am an expert coach. I am an
Mhm,
expert coach.
mhm.
And I was like, I get that. I get that. Because as much as you know, you can still have those days, imposter syndrome, where you
Mhm.
feel like I know nothing.
Yeah,
I know nothing. I'm just like Jon Snow. I know nothing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so if we can start to argue for our expansion, for our expertise,
Mhm,
and really the argument is usually to ourselves
mhm.
that
Yeah,
I am enough, that I have enough,
yeah.
that there are diamonds in my backyard, which I think is the name of a book.
Diamonds in my backyard. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's the name of the book. And then there's this other book, and it says The Mountain Is You. And I haven't read that one yet, but I just love that title. I think I got it just because I love the
Mhm.
title. The Mountain Is You.
Sometimes the titles will speak to your whole soul.
Mm-hmm.
If that there are
Mm-hmm.
diamonds in my backyard,
Yeah.
my whole dream was named after diamonds, like White Diamond Image Consulting,
Oh, it
like
sure was.
diamonds, like yeah, the diamond in the rough, and I used to study that, like diamonds because I
About
felt like
that.
that's exactly, yeah, I felt like that's exactly, who and what we were. Like we were diamonds in the
Right.
rough, constantly, constantly polishing ourselves up.
Mm-hmm.
With the image
Ooh.
consulting background, it was just so fitting. Uh, and now like the expansion and consciousness of, what it really is. So you
Yeah.
saying like there are diamonds in my backyard, like
Mm-hmm.
also you don't know, but I had an event called the Diamond Exchange, and
Oh.
that's why it never died. Like it never dies, because my thought behind that was, we have to exchange energy and information and resources. The
We do.
diamonds, like we are
We
the
do.
diamond.
Yeah.
So we are constantly exchanging amongst each other. And now, so it kind of felt like it fell off for a while. And recently, just everything about diamonds has been coming back up. Or even to hear people use something that you used to use, now they're using it like it was never used before.
Wait a minute. I was saying that 5 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
10 years
I never
ago.
forget that. Yeah, when I named the company White Diamond Image Consulting, I knew what I was thinking. I couldn't quite articulate it, as
Then.
years went
Mm-hmm.
on. It was coming
Mm-hmm.
together. But yeah, that's an amazing title. But that we have to argue for our expansion. Ooh, you done preached to me. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. I love that.
All right. So this is a good place for us to pivot to all of those people, and to talk, and me included, and you included, because we just started talking about it, we're coming up on the middle of the year.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the middle of quarter 2. Wait, April, May, June. Yeah, we're literally in the middle of quarter 2,
Yeah.
almost. And so, how do you get yourself back centered? Going into summer, what are some specific things that you're gonna do to get yourself back centered?
Okay, so for me,
Mm-hmm.
personally, it resonated when the coach said go through that 30-day, that personal 30-day challenge. So my last challenge I did, it was a Activate Your Abundance 21-day, and it was extremely powerful. I personally, it was so deep and personal for me, and some of the conversations and just breakthroughs that came out of it, I had to pull back because everything to me expanded.
Ooh.
Everything started to become really, really, really clear. And even down to the things that you name, like your programs and stuff that you name, like the one woman show, the CEO, that thing became clear. I know what I thought it was on the surface, but it's like, oh, that's a cute name, but you're going to have to become what you say the people need to be. You have to be that if you're going to coach that. And I'm like, oh, and even that, we say it all the time. You got to become it. You got to become it. All that stuff sounds so good. But to truly live that thing out now, and listen, viewers, let me tell you something. You watch what you speak over yourself. Because so much of these little trendy words, these little buzzwords, they sound so good coming out your mouth. But watch what you are speaking over your life. And I mean, I know it's good stuff. We only speak good over ourselves and our tribe and our community. But be ready, because I would have never imagined that I would be talking about business. I've never considered myself a good businesswoman. Because of financially, I'm like, I'm struggling. I'm a good businesswoman and I'm struggling. But it's bigger than that, because when you understand, like you said, it takes 5 years to
do this and do that and grow this and grow that.
I remember listening to something from Damon Dash that was so liberating. He said, oh, it's going to take you 10, 20 years to get you where you want to be. You're going to be 50 years old before you are anywhere near satisfied with your vision and your business. And just, I was like, oh, it was just like a relief to even hear, because I'm like, you just feel like a failure, because you're doing okay. Even thriving is like exhausting, and it just feels okay, and it can feel very much like a failure.
Very much, very much so.
Yeah.
Let me make that a specific call to action for people.
Okay.
All right. I want everybody to really sit down and figure out, do the research on how long it takes to grow things. Okay. When I came up through business school, because my undergrad is in business, first of all, we always heard in business school, it takes 7 years to get a business profitable. 5 to 7. They said the first 3 years, you're just not going to be making a profit. You're going to be spending. And I think enough businesses that open up don't plan for that, because you see restaurants that are open up and then 1 year later they close because they didn't plan for 3 years of not making money. And then they said the second 3 years, you will be making a profit, but you'll be paying all the debt back from the first 3 years, that you're not going to feel the profit. And it's not to somewhere between the 5th and the 7th year, depending on how good you were with your finances and how well marketing took off, before you're going to really see a profit. And so I think, because it seems to me, when you watch YouTube videos, people are quick to say, Oh, I only do a 4-hour work week. Yes, but I've been following you for years now. And I remember when you was working your full-time job and you was doing this on the side for so a good 2 years in there, you was working a 60-hour week before you got to the 40-hour week. And
Mhm.
so I want you guys to do your own research. Like when I was researching podcasts and how to get them going and what they need to do, more than one book. At least I think I read. My goal is I read always read like 4 books on the topic before I jump into something. And so at least 2 of the books was like it's gonna take you 3 years, like
Yeah.
3 years to like before it starts growing to get a
Yeah.
following. Like you just gotta kind of almost like working in the hole. Like you working in the hole for 3 years
Yeah.
first. So that
Yeah.
clearly set my expectations. So I didn't start the podcast expecting for it to blow up on the first episode, second episode, third
Yeah.
episode. It set my expectations
Mhm.
until we got what 50, 52 weeks in the year. So until I got 150 episodes,
Yeah.
I ain't even started.
Yeah.
And I ain't even started. And I was looking the other day at somebody's Amy Porterfield, and she has 657 episodes. I'm like, dang, this chick been doing it a while. But then I noticed, y'all, she has 657 episodes, and I just found her. I just heard about her.
Yeah.
And so she been out there doing it for I don't know how long. I want to go back and
Oh,
see all the way
long time.
like when episode 1 started, the date on that, but keep in mind how long it takes because I think people are starting a journey and then getting discouraged, not understanding that it takes time to build. Like building takes time. And please don't get caught up. And I know I'm repeating myself, but don't get caught up in these
Okay.
internet people who's like, and I made $500,000 in 1 year. Yeah, but I've been listening to you and watching you. And so the year before that, you didn't do it. The year before that, you didn't do that. The year before that, you was in a whole nother business. And the year before that, I remember seeing you at that conference I was at. Like, like, and so it may look like overnight success. It may look like they've been doing it overnight. I'm gonna need you to know that's not true. I'm gonna need
Yeah.
you to listen with a different ear.
Yeah.
And I think when you start following a person, you listen, like it'll come out that oh, this is actually their 15th business that they started,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
finally hit, and they finally got it up and running.
Yeah.
I know. Do y'all know the story of J.C. Penney? He actually had 2 major failed businesses, went into the psych hospital before he came out and got J.C. Penney going up.
I believe
Mm-hmm.
it. I believe
Mm-hmm.
it.
Mm-hmm.
And people aren't so like there's this space in there where I think the older people are telling the truth because they're liberated now. But the
Mm.
newcomers, like the new money and the new coaches and the new thought leaders or
Yeah.
whatever,
Mm-hmm.
they're not telling the full truth because they're in
Right.
it.
Yeah.
They're in it. They're going through it now. So they're using stories. And it's marketing. Like,
It
I think
is.
that our community, especially, lack in marketing
Mm.
and
Mm-hmm.
have lacked in marketing because we were building small businesses off of the community, off of the backs of the community,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So marketing was word of mouth for us.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing was a flyer and maybe a billboard and maybe a local commercial,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So now the game has switched and it's not the local TV commercial. It's quite a bit. I think word of mouth will always be solid, but not as much as this internet.
Right.
This internet is now the
Right.
big.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
can be considered word of mouth, in a
It
way.
can be, it definitely can be considered word of mouth. And I also want you guys, you got to know your ideal client. You
Gotta
have
know
to
your idea.
know where they're going to go to get their information.
Yeah.
And so, are they going to go to the internet? Because, okay, so my sex therapy practice,
Mhm.
people are going to the internet. They are not sitting at the beauty shop saying, let me say barbershop because I know that ain't happening. They are not sitting at the barbershop saying, dude, I can't get it up. I don't know what to do. What you think I should do about
Right,
that? That's
right,
not happening.
right.
They're in the middle of the night online trying to Google articles to figure out why my partner's not having sex with me, why,
Mhm.
and all of this stuff. And
Mhm.
so for my sex therapy practice, the internet and doctors is where it comes.
Mhm.
Um, but there have been some other things for kids services. Like if you're a therapist and you work with children, that's word of mouth.
Mhm. Mhm.
People want to trust who they're going to put their kid. They have no problem saying, hey, my kid is struggling. I think they might have ADHD. Do you know somebody? Because I want somebody
Yeah.
good. I want a personal
Yeah.
referral.
Yeah.
I want that. And so please, 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 if you have not done your ideal client work, sit down and do your ideal client work and really think about that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But because it's going to be different. It's going to
Yeah.
be different. Okay.
For sure.
I digress.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm sorry. I threw you all off.
No,
But I
no,
think
no,
it
no,
was so
no.
important to say because I
It
really want
was.
people along that marketing is to sit down and make a solid marketing plan for
Yeah.
how you're going to get in front of the people and how
Yeah.
you need to do that. And because now I'm on my little rant. So, and then understand that you cannot start marketing. If you look at TV, you will see commercials for the same people we've been seeing commercials for: Home
Hmm.
Depot, McDonald's, um, who else? Gain detergent, because you never stop marketing.
Never,
You do
never,
not
never.
get off the top of people's heads. And so a
No.
lot of us will feel like, I've arrived. I don't have to
Yes.
market anymore. That's not true.
Yes. Yes.
That's
Yes.
not true. If you look at all of the big companies, they are still forever marketing.
Yep.
They are
You got
still
to fill
forever
that pipe
marketing.
hole. Like, that's
Yeah.
where a lot of people go wrong. Like, you have a great month or even a
Hmm.
great year or two,
Hmm.
and then things fall off and things change.
Yeah.
Well, have you been marketing? Have you
Yeah.
been filling the pipe up? Are you a one-woman
Yeah.
show, one-man show, and can't handle it? You
Right.
know, like
Hmm.
what's your business infrastructure looking like? That is one of the biggest things for me right now. Like, oh, I got to rebuild this thing or even build it because it was never really there.
Hmm.
You know, I never
Yep.
had a solid infrastructure. You
Yep.
know, what I had was a salon business where I contracted out with other stylists,
Yeah.
and I made a lot of money doing hair, and I made a lot of money with the image consulting and through booth rental
Mm.
contracts.
Hmm.
Well, when things shift, and I decided, I was like, well, it's time for me to move from beyond the chair. Business looked really different.
Hmm.
So now, what am I doing? I am creating a whole new infrastructure. First of all, a real team that I had to learn how
Hmm.
to delegate.
Yes.
I had to learn how to delegate.
Yes.
Then, building like products outside of me. Like, I can't be my business.
Hmm.
You know, I have to build my retirement plan. Whatever. I wish we had another name. We got another
Yes.
name. Have to build that plan. And one thing I have in my head now is, oh, well, I need an income for that. This income is not going to cover my retirement plan, the bills, the insurance. Is that no, 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 no. I have to have a whole other stream
Hmm.
for my retirement plan. Okay,
Hmm.
I'm gonna let you have the floor. I need to grab a little drink or something. I feel a little like
Okay. All right. I wanted, you don't like the word retirement plan? Okay, we're gonna talk about that. That's
what?
let's
I
see.
don't
All
even think
right,
our generation is retiring. We're not retiring.
you got a point.
Real
You're
essence of
right.
retirement. We're not. We are.
Hmm.
If we tap out or whatever you call it, I don't have a corporate job. I haven't ever had one. So whatever the word is, okay. So you might retire from this
Hmm.
career or military or a certain career or something, but you're going and you're starting another career or a business or something. So you're not in full retirement.
Okay. So what do we want? An end of life income plan?
I don't know, but I know, gosh, oh my goodness, why am I
The
losing
last
people?
mile income plan? I
Yeah.
like it. No, I like it. I like it because you're right. We're not retiring like that. And as I think about retirement, I'm not thinking about it as my parents thought about it.
No,
Not, I'm
no.
gonna save up this lump sum of money and then I'm gonna stop working.
Mm-hmm.
My retirement plan in my head is on about this business, and this business is gonna take care of
Mm-hmm.
me in
Mm-hmm.
retirement, and hopefully I can get this sum of money and live off the investments of that. Uh, um, so it is very, very, very different than our parents. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you said so much.
Let me
I
say
already know.
this.
Uh-huh.
Myron Golden, you know who that is, right?
I don't. I've heard the name before, but I don't know exactly what he does.
Myron Golden, he is the $1 million trash man, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, he's this big guru, multi-millionaire. He's a coach, motivational speaker. So much more to him. So don't let me,
Gotcha.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't call it retirement. He calls it refirement.
Ooh,
When you refire your life, you know.
gotcha.
I thought that was really good. That made more sense to me than retirement.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but you're right. We're gonna have to come up with something unique so you
Yeah.
will have a different energy behind it. Because,
Mm-hmm.
and I do have friends. I have friends that retired from corporate careers and
Mm-hmm.
military and stuff like that. But what they're still going. They're still going.
Very much so. Very much so. Yeah. That's gonna be really interesting. I want
Mhm.
to keep talking about that. But
I will say one more thing.
no, go for it.
This might be us, but we need a whole movement for Gen X refirement. We need a
Say
movement
more. Like why? Because I think we're already
because,
doing it. We're already in the movement.
yeah, but I don't think it's I don't think that
It's
enough
organized and
people,
voiced.
yeah. It's almost like we know that we need a certain awareness. We need more awareness
Mm.
because it's like George Floyd. Oh, now people want to be black power. We need black power. We need
Mm-hmm.
the culture needs to come together. All cultures, all races, blah, 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 blah. Awareness. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh, it's fired up for a minute and then it fizzles out. You
Okay.
know, but as we're aging, you know, coming up on our 40s and 50s, which means you will soon be in your 60s, which is
Oh,
real retirement age
yes.
or chill age, we really need a movement to wake people up because we're so distracted and so sleep. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, girl, you 50, you 55.
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting a new career, you're starting a new business.
Yeah.
You may have a plan, but is that plan gonna sustain you through 30 more years of life? 30, 40 more
Yes.
years of life. We
Yes.
are living long.
That is true. We're living long, and I think I was talking to a lady who's 70 and she was like, "Girl, I'm really feeling this 70." Now mind you, if this lady was on the call, she's an aerobics instructor for several classes. She could run circles around Cherise and I both. And that's
Okay.
the first time in all these years that I've heard her say she's feeling her age. But she was like, I'm
Wow.
feeling it at 70. And so she's looking at like, what does my life need to look like now that I literally have less energy and I'm needing to take a nap?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and so I think part of that plan is okay, if I'm going to be active, but I may have less energy, what does that look like? What do I need to put in place for myself
Yeah.
for that and planning for that? Because it's coming and it's coming faster, I think, than we realize. I think you're very accurate on that, that we do need some type of unifying word language movement to make sure that my generation is aware.
Yeah. And life, living life is sucking up the money that you may have, you know,
Yeah.
because, like, for instance, if you have a retirement plan that's significant, you know, there's something in your life that could really take a big chunk of
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so,
No, because okay, let me give you a perfect example of that. My first career, corporate America, I had corporate America in my 20s.
Mhm.
Now, my parents never changed careers. So the money that they had for their 401k stayed in their 401ks because they were very consistent with their employment. When I changed careers, I spent all the money in my 401k. And so that's something that I think is unique to my generation that baby boomers haven't had to face. When we change
Mhm.
careers, because you're starting all over at the bottom again, but your expenses haven't changed. Even though I was like, I can live on less until you try to live on less. Let me tell you, girl, I got an expensive ass taste. It was really hard to learn how to live on less. So like I had to be forced into it. I wasn't able to just decrease my budget and live on
Yeah.
less. And so that's a rebuilding that is happening with my generation because we like to switch careers about every 10 years. I think, and even some of us, even 5 to 7 years, that we're switching careers and we're switching homes every
Mhm.
5 to 7 years. Unlike our baby boomer parents, they worked on a job 30 years, they stayed in the same house their whole entire life. They got it paid off about the same time that they were retiring so that it was naturally built. It's very, very different from my generation.
Yeah. It is very different,
Yeah.
especially as an entrepreneur.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, say that part. Say that part. So making sure as an entrepreneur and what's his name? Hold on. Donald Miller
Mhm.
has been talking about this. Okay, so Donald Miller he had this thing called the story brand method of marketing. Then he switched into, I think, teaching people how to be marketing coaches. And then he became a coach himself. And one of the things that he talks about in building a business and building a coaching business is making sure that your business has investments and that you are also being able to pull financially from those investments.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think that's really important. And I don't think I was as aware of that
Yeah.
until probably the last 3 years that
Yeah.
I finally been
Mhm.
aware of, like, oh, okay, that's another way my business can be paying me and itself. Because my business needs a savings account
Yeah.
to take care of
Yeah.
itself. And I personally need a savings account. And I think
Yeah.
I just got that information through in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a client. I just had a conversation with her and I was asking her, her husband has a very successful uh NFL agency. And I asked her, I was like, how did y'all even get the idea? And she was like, well, he was just good. He was good. And it was time for him to
Hmm.
start his own. And she was telling me, she was like, yeah, um, when it was time, it was easy. I just took one of my investment accounts
Hmm.
and we started it with that.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
boom, here we are,
Yeah.
and but they're a solid couple. They've been solid,
Yeah.
financially, spiritually,
Hmm.
and that was just easy for them because they had those things in place.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, it's not too late for that.
No.
It's not too late at all. But you want to be able to, oh, we need an investment. The investment should come from within,
Yeah.
you know, and then, we did it together.
Hmm.
So,
Definitely so. Definitely so. Yeah. And it doesn't take long. When you start investing, it doesn't take long. Because I was on my corporate job 10, maybe 12 years. And
mhm,
I had definitely 6 figures in
mhm,
retirement. It didn't take
mhm,
long. I was just consistently putting
yeah,
money in.
mhm,
And I'm still having a great time. Oh, my
yeah,
rich days.
yeah, okay.
So we about to get back there, hopefully in the next couple of years.
Yes, we will be.
I'll
Yes.
be so much wiser with my money this time around. Oh,
Ooh,
yeah. Oh,
I'm excited about that.
girl. So anyway, all right. Wrapping us up for today.
Mhm.
We've done it again where we've gone all around the world and back again.
Oh, but I
All
really think that they appreciate it. This is a great.
right. Okay. All right. What are the takeaways? What do you want your people to take away from today?
Ooh, good question. So I would say the takeaway for the day from me is, where does your ideal client get their information?
Mm,
That
mm-hmm.
was that was key. Like that one really resonated because it's like, okay, Are they on the internet?
Mm-hmm.
Is it word of mouth? That's very significant.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the internet, where are they literally going on the internet
Mm.
Googling? You know,
Right.
are they on social? You
Right. Are they
know,
putting it in a Facebook
are they,
group?
yeah.
Right. That's a
Hmm.
good one. Okay. What I want y'all to take away from today is to figure out really how long it takes to get a business up and going, to grow a following, how long it takes to really grow a following. Um, Even if you have a something go viral, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to grow a following.
No.
Um,
For
and
the right following.
or the right following. That's true. All right. So really sitting down and figuring that out and knowing those numbers. And then Brian Tracy. Yeah, I love Brian Tracy. Speaking of people being old, he's probably in his 90s. But anyway, his one of his books always said, no matter how long you think it's gonna take, you need to plan that it's gonna take double that amount of time.
Mm, mm,
And so when you do that, when you say, okay, the all the books I read say the podcast is going to take 3 years to get off the ground and growing. Okay, so I know I got to work 3 years. Okay, then Brian said, no matter how long I think it's going to take double. Okay, now I have conditioned my mind that we need to do this for 6 years. That we need to be locked in, and we just need to be consistent for 6 years. So okay, so if I'm got to do something for 6 years, it needs to be easy. I need to make it a habit. It needs to be in my schedule. It just needs to be what I do so that I can do it and sustain it for 6 years. And to know that's all it takes. Because if you listen to a lot of the people, and I listen to them too, y'all, I, you will be thinking, oh, they built their business in less than a year. Oh, they built their business in 2 months. Oh, they just had one viral video after they was posting for a month and they hit it big. And that's really not the case. If you listen deeply and you listen differently, you'll realize, oh, that's their fifth YouTube channel.
mm.
They learned some things on the first four that they were able to finally implement on the fifth one. That's how that's how that they were able to get a video to go viral in their first month of business. You
Yeah.
didn't, because you didn't count all those other four businesses you had.
Yeah.
Um, and so one of the people, Danielle Leslie, have you heard of Danielle Leslie
Oh
yet?
yeah.
Yeah, Danielle Leslie. Because if you listen to her sometimes, she'll like, oh, and I had this class and blah, blah, blah. But if you listen to her some other times, she'll tell you she had a couple of other classes
Yeah.
that nobody showed up for.
Yeah.
And then she learned. And not to mention, she worked for the marketing company for years before she came out of her own. And so I'm telling y'all, listen to these people. It's not happening overnight. Like sometimes you will hear them
Yeah.
say
True.
that there is a lot of behind the scenes work. So
So true.
so
So
know
true.
that, get your expectations set appropriately for the amount of work that you're going to have to do. Um what do they say? Even passive income, you got to spend years to work to get it before it's passive.
I know.
So, and I was like, yeah, that's true. Like you have to put the things in place. You have to build the things, If you have an email sequence that's making you money, somebody had to write out 52 of those emails and get the links in there and everything. And so just know that. That's my takeaway for the day.
You
All right, people. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you guys
really?
next Tuesday.
Yes, we'll see you next Tuesday. All
All
right.
right.
Have a
Bye
good one,
bye.
Natalie.
You too. Bye.